Hello, hello. Week 3, wrapping up. So I will dive right in. So first of all, I've returned all of the stage ones that came in on time. I'm working on the late stage ones. I want to emphasize that quite a few people never got an ad approved and did not upload stage 1. Remember, with this assignment, you have to do one piece at a time, get one stage, get the feedback on one stage, and then use that as you move forward. A lot of folks are falling behind in the class right now. I've got some people who haven't done much work at all in these 2 weeks. This is kind of our last chance to get caught up here. So if you're behind in the class, please make sure to get in, look at the weekly folders, and complete the work that is there. I know that there's a holiday weekend coming up. I know a few of you are planning to take a little bit of time to try to catch up. So this is kind of that last chance to catch up as we push forward in the course. So things I've seen so far with stage 1, I've seen a lot of really detailed, well-organized descriptions. A few things to keep in mind as you are revising. Remember that this description and this whole essay that we will eventually put together from this is meant to be objective. So we're not talking about our personal experience with the ad or our personal experience with the product. We are describing that ad and then analyzing that ad. We're going to be looking at the strategies that the advertisers use to try to get their audience to buy, use the service, whatever it is that their ad is about. So in some cases, more detail is needed. Some people, for example, mentioned there is a dog in the ad, but didn't tell us what the dog looked like, how it was positioned, etc. Remember to describe all of the prominent things in the ad and be sure that the placement and all of that is very clear. Some folks need to think about that context. Some folks described the other stuff in the magazine as part of the ad. Remember, we're focusing on just describing that ad. Where it is in the magazine, that's kind of the context. So is this ad early in the magazine? Is it on the back cover? What article is it next to? That is important to mention, but describing all of that in great detail is not important. Stay focused on describing the ad. So you get feedback on stage 1, use that feedback to revise, and then you're going to be adding stage 2, your analysis. Now, when we analyze, we are going beyond just what we see, and we're thinking about what's being done and why and how it works. So I provided a few questions for you on the assignment to help you think through analysis. This is not a comprehensive list of questions. You don't have to answer all of them. You don't have to just stick with what's there, but some things that you do need to think about. You need to think about who the intended audience is for this ad. And remember that the intended audience also can be indicated by where this ad appears. And what's in the ad, who is in the ad, is not necessarily the intended audience. For example, you may have an ad for diapers that has babies in the ad, reasonably, and that ad may appear in Good Housekeeping. Sometimes I'll have a student go, oh, well, the audience for this ad is kids. No, those kids are not going to buy diapers, and those kids are not reading Good Housekeeping, right? Now, sometimes who's in the ad is a good indication of who the audience is. If you have a young woman in a makeup ad who is, singing the praises of whatever lipstick she's using, yeah, it may be a good indicator that the intended audience is young women who, are in a similar demographic to this person. You're also going to want to think about what idea they're trying to sell you on, not just the product, but what kind of associations are they trying to have you make with the product. As you saw in Good Advertising Works, even when you think it doesn't, the goal is not always to immediately get you to go out and buy that thing, right? They want that positive association. They want an emotional connection. They want the brand recognition. So think about what it is they're doing and what kind of an appeal they're using to try to get to the viewer. So are they using humor? Are they appealing to your anxieties? We'll see that a lot with insurance companies. Are they trying to, show you that they're an authority about something? So look at that ad and really dig in. Think about how they're using color. You know, what is it that they're doing that's unique? What sets them apart from other companies, other products, other services? You may also want to go back to your description and think about what stood out and what got your attention about the ad, because that can be a good indication that's something you need to pay attention to as you analyze. So as you write this analysis, you'll make an assertion. You know, the audience is blah, blah, blah. And then you'll provide some evidence from the ad that supports that. Okay, so the audience is, go back to my example for the lipstick, women in their 20s or early 30s. Based on, so here's where we provide the evidence based on the image of the woman in the ad. Okay. See what I mean? So you don't just say the thing and move on. You need to provide some evidence, and then you can develop that further. This is an important audience for them to target because, you know, this group buys a lot of cosmetics, for example. Okay, so you'll draft that, tie those ideas together, and then you will submit the document with your revised description and then this analysis. And then I'll give you feedback on that, and then we will move on to thinking about how to add an introduction and add a conclusion to this first short essay that we're building together. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about sentence structure, and I'm going to share the whiteboard for this so that I can typity-type just a little bit. Okay, so your work in Inquisitive last week focused on fragments and run-on sentences. And as I said in the 011 video earlier, those are two of the most common errors that I see. So here's a sentence. Bubba left. A lot of people would see this and immediately go, oh, that's a fragment. It's short. It doesn't tell me much. However, if we look at it, we can see Bubba is our subject. Bubba is a noun. Left is our verb. It is in past tense. And in addition to this having a subject and a verb, we actually have a complete thought, right? Bubba left, right? We know what Bubba did. We don't know a whole lot about it, but it's a complete thought. Now, contrast that with after Bubba left. We no longer have a complete thought, right? After Bubba left, what? I took a complete sentence, I added after, and now I've turned it into a sentence fragment. In this case, the sentence fragment is a dependent clause. A dependent clause needs a complete sentence with it for it to be correct. So if I added a complete sentence, and I said after Bubba left, the party was over, then we are back to having a grammatically correct sentence. Okay, so keep in mind that the length of a sentence is not what matters. It's the components and if they're joined properly and if everything is clear, if thoughts are complete. So then you'll have run-ons from time to time. We are mean to Bubba. Bubba left to get us pizza while he was gone. We ate all his snacks. Okay, this is a run-on sentence. All right, we've got two complete sentences. Bubba left to get us pizza. That is a complete sentence. While he was gone, we ate all his snacks. All right, so we look at this, and we've got a few ways we could fix this. Okay, we could make a new sentence. We could make two sentences. Bubba left to get us pizza, period. While he was gone, we ate all his snacks. You'll notice that I have put a comma right here. I have a introductory dependent clause, so I'm going to use a comma after that. If I had it the other way around, I wouldn't need the comma. If I said we ate all his snacks while he was gone, there wouldn't be a comma here. Okay, so we've got two complete sentences. We could use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. A lot of folks would immediately jump to putting a comma in, but you can't put a comma in by itself. A comma is not strong enough to hold two sentences together. It has to have a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunctions you may have heard called fanboys. And that stands for and, nor, but, or, yet, so. They're coordinating because they have to coordinate with the sentence. You can't just pull one out of the bag and stick it in there, okay? All right, so here you see I have a comma and a coordinating conjunction added right here to make this grammatically correct. So something else you can do, you can get fancy and you can use a semicolon. A semicolon can be used to join two complete sentences that are closely related. And that is often a good way to deal with run-on sentences because they're run-on sentences because the clauses were closely related, right? That's how we got in this mess. So you can put the semicolon in and then continue with the complete sentence. You could also just rewrite the whole thing. Maybe I do something like say, while Bubba was out getting us pizza, we ate all his snacks because we are mean to our friend Bubba. All right, well, Bubba was out getting pizza, we ate all his snacks. All right, so there's no one right way to revise a sentence. Often when you see me making suggestions on your drafts when I'm returning feedback, often I'm just making suggestions or edits. I'm telling you some edits you could make that work in that particular situation. Rewriting is okay. Changing stuff is okay. Moving stuff around is totally fine. Another thing that you will be dealing with coming up here is commas. We've just gone over two uses of commas. I know that often we feel like we just put commas where we feel like we need a pause, but there are rules governing how we use commas. So we have covered commas with coordinating conjunctions to join two independent clauses. We have covered commas after an introductory element or clause. You're also probably familiar with using serial commas, and that's cereal with an S, not the breakfast that you have. That's when we separate items in a series. So all right, so I say here at Costco, I bought a salad, a pair of pants, and a fire extinguisher because that's a completely reasonable shopping list at Costco if you've never been. So here I've separated each item in the series with a comma. Some people would say that this comma here is unnecessary. This is called the serial comma or the Oxford comma if you want to be fancy. Essentially, sometimes it can change the meaning of the sentence. Most of the time it doesn't. I always put it in because I know if I don't, one day I'm going to goof up and my sentence is going to be incorrect. So I always put it there. There's no penalty for not having it as long as it wouldn't change the meaning of your sentence. We also use commas with coordinate adjectives, but not cumulative adjectives. Okay. All right, so here I say Baba drives an old, rusty, dented truck. Each of these words is describing truck. The truck is dented, the truck is rusty, the truck is old. Rusty is not old, dented is not rusty, right? Each of these words actually describes truck. So we use commas to separate them. So this is coordinate adjectives because those adjectives work together to describe that thing. In a different situation where we have cumulative adjectives, we would not need the commas. All right, so here I say Bubba wears a dark purple velvet jacket. These are cumulative adjectives. Each word describes the next word. Velvet describes jacket, purple describes velvet, and dark describes the purple. So you don't want to separate these with commas, okay? They're not standing alone. Each word builds on the next to give us the dark purple velvet of the jacket. Okay, does that make, I'm asking you if it makes sense and you can't answer me. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. And I'll give you more videos where I nerd out about punctuation. So you can also use commas to set off non-restrictive elements. Non-restrictive elements are kind of parenthetical phrases in a sentence that don't change the meaning of the sentence. Okay. Oh, they took away my italics. Anyway, names of plays should be italicized. So here I say Shakespeare's play Hamlet is my favorite. Now, often I'll see people want to put commas right here. In this case, we shouldn't do that because Shakespeare has written a lot of plays, right? Romeo and Juliet, Much Ado About Nothing, Macbeth, etc. So we do not want to set this off with commas. If we did, we would be treating that as something that could be taken out of the sentence and keep the same meaning. And it doesn't. Shakespeare's play is my favorite. That doesn't mean the same thing, right? Which play? If we say Shakespeare's play, comma, Hamlet, comma, is my favorite, it sounds like that's the only one he ever wrote. All right. So if I said my online, no, let me try this again. Wrong word. Here I say my mother, a former teacher, is retired. If I take this out, the meaning of the sentence hasn't changed, right? My mother is retired was the intention of that sentence. I was just giving you a little extra information here, maybe because school's just started, maybe because I'm a teacher, maybe it's somewhat interesting. I don't know. I need to tell you something about my mom. It doesn't change the meaning of the sentence. It's extra information. It could go in parentheses, so we do put commas around that. I hope that makes sense. One last little punctuation thing I'll throw at you before I stop talking is one more use for semicolons. You can also use a semicolon to separate comma-containing items in a series. Remember that the semicolon is stronger than the comma. So for example, when we talk about cities and states, we separate those with commas. If I didn't put the semicolons here, to someone who wasn't familiar with our cities and states, it would look like I had been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 places, okay? By putting the semicolon in those breaks, it makes it a little bit clearer and a little bit cleaner. All right. So I will leave you with those things to think about where sentence structure, commas, and semicolons are concerned. If you have trouble on your inquisitives this week, or if you get stuck, please let me know. I want to help. If you feel stuck, walk away, come back to it. If you are having trouble, get in touch, because I definitely want inquisitive to be something that helps you, not something that is stressful or frustrating. Okay. So I look forward to seeing stage 2. Remember, if you haven't set up your virtual or in-person office visit or completed that, Wednesday's the last day, so you need to get that in. And if you haven't completed the skills survey that I sent out, please be sure to get that in as well. I'll send a reminder announcement for that. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. If I can help you, as always, please let me know. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.